Counting calories and macros can be a really effective way to lose weight, but it's not something you should have to do forever. So once you've lost the weight, do you know how to stop tracking without regaining it? In this episode, we'll give you our proven method for dropping those tracking apps once and for all. Be sure to stick around to the end to find out how you can get this whole process sent right to your phone. All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. I'm glad that you're here. I'm Jonathan. In case we've never met, my wife Blakely and I own Digital Barbell. We're an online training and nutrition coaching company, helping people all over the world get in great shape. I'm glad that you're here. Let's just get right into today's episode because I know that you are wondering, how is this going to work? So Caitlin Counter loved counting. It didn't matter if it was sheep when she was struggling to sleep, cars passing by on the freeway, or counting shells on the beach. Counting was her jam. After college, Caitlin married her high school sweetheart, Philip Filer. You can probably guess what his obsession was. After a few years of wedded bliss, Caitlin found herself counting a few extra holes on her belt that she hadn't used in the past. Like a lot of her friends, the busyness and responsibilities of married life led to a lot more takeout, drive-thrus, and about 25 extra pounds that she did not love. As an avid listener of the Digital Barbell Podcast, she knew that the key to making those unwanted pounds disappear was her nutrition. She knew that she needed to get in and stay in a calorie deficit so her body would burn that unwanted fat for energy. She downloaded the free calorie and macronutrient guide at digitalbarbell.com, and off to the calorie counting races she went. You can also download that same free guide in the show notes below. At first, it was a bit cumbersome, but after some practice, she became a calorie counting force to be reckoned with. Over the next 6 months, Caitlin calorie counted her way to 25 pounds of fat loss. She felt amazing and accomplished. Calorie counting worked for Caitlin, but if she was being honest, even as a lover of all things counting, she was a bit sick of it. She was ready to enjoy the fruits of her fat loss efforts without the extra steps of counting calories every single day. But even though she was ready to hit delete on MyFitnessPal, she was nervous to stop counting. What if she ate too much some days? What if she didn't eat enough protein or too many carbs? Would she regain the weight? Luckily for Caitlin Counter, she came across this very episode that you're listening to right now. She was able to follow the simple steps in this episode and move on confidently to maintaining her killer progress without continuing to count. Here's the plan that she followed to stop counting calories without regaining the weight. And just for you guys, I turned this whole process into an easy to follow PDF that you can download. Just click on the link below and I will send it to you today. Okay, on to the plan. Week number 1. I want you to pick one normal weekday and eat your normal food, but don't track any of it in your app. Notice that I said a normal weekday. Having jury duty isn't a normal day. The day you have 45 random extra errands to run, that's not a normal day either. This untracked day should be as routine as possible to set yourself up for success. Okay, week number 2. I want you to repeat week number 1 again. Yes, practice makes perfect. At the end of week 2, I want you to take 10 minutes and reflect on the days that you didn't log. Did you feel normal? Were you anxious? Did you feel free? Was it no big deal at all? Or did you overeat because you didn't track? If everything was copacetic, I want you to move on to week number 3. If things felt even a little bit wonky, stick with not logging one weekday for one more week and then reevaluate. Caitlin Counter felt great after week 2, so on she went. Okay, week number 3. Pick 2 normal weekdays, eat your normal food, and don't track any of it in your app. Yes, now you are moving up to 2 untracked weekdays. Just keep eating your normal meals and snacks, just don't use your app to log them. Since you're probably used to weighing and measuring your food by now, you can even keep doing that from time to time just as a spot check to make sure your portions aren't growing. At the end of week 3, go through the same reflection that you did at the end of week 2. If everything's going well, you can move on to week 4 steps. If you're feeling anxious or if you find that you're overeating, repeat week 3 again. As for Caitlin Counter, she had an interesting week 3. She picked Monday and Wednesday as her untracked days. Monday went fine, but on Wednesday she noticed she ate quite a bit more than she wanted to at lunch and dinner. She felt sick to her stomach, and she knew that since she wasn't counting, she went a bit overboard. She forgave herself quickly, learned from the experience, and repeated week 3 before moving on. Okay, on to week 4. Pick 3 weekdays, eat your normal food, and don't track any of it in your app. Notice that I dropped the normal part for now. I don't know about you, but our clients are always getting curveballs thrown at them during the week. In week 4, we're going to start testing our habits on those crazy days when everything is just going bonkers. Caitlin Counter crushed week 4. She had a successful dinner out with her husband, and the whole week was a win. Okay, weeks 5 through 8. I want you to pick 3 weekdays plus 1 weekend day and don't track any of it in your app. That's right. In this step, we're taking it up a notch. Over half of the week with no tracking, and we've added in a weekend day. We know that staying true to your nutrition is harder on the weekends, so it's important not to skip this step. Notice that this step has some flexibility as far as how many weeks you will spend here. This is the final step before you stop counting altogether, so please, please, please don't rush this process. Stay here as long as you need to. You should feel confident that the skills you built around portions and listening to your body's hunger cues are solid before moving on. As for the star of our show, after week 6, Caitlin felt amazing, and the freedom from counting was even better than she expected. In week 7, she went cold turkey on counting altogether and hasn't looked back since. If it takes you 7, 9, or 20 weeks to go through this process, don't sweat it. You can do this. Let's wrap up this story with a few critical tips that Caitlin Counter used to stop tracking her calories without regaining the 25 pounds that she lost. Number 1. She continued to weigh herself multiple times per week and calculate her average weekly weight. Caitlin knew that her weight fluctuated quite a bit throughout the week. She saw many crazy ups and downs in the process of losing that 25 pounds, and she knew it was just the way that fat loss worked. So to keep herself aware and accountable while weaning herself off of calorie counting, she kept weighing herself daily and calculating her weekly average weight. She knew that if her weekly average kept going up and up, that spot checking her calories would make sure that her portions weren't accidentally inflating, because it does happen. Number 2, she kept eating mostly the same meals and snacks that she did while she was losing that 25 pounds. This tip was huge in Caitlin's success. She knew that one of the reasons that she was so successful at losing weight was that she had a solid routine most days. Now, you don't have to be a robot and eat the exact same food every single day, but when you're weaning off of counting, you don't want to throw in too many wildcard variables, and you don't want to completely change your weekly meal menu. Keep it simple, keep it successful. Number 3, she stayed active and kept exercising. Maybe you were surprised that when Caitlin Counter set off to tighten up her belt, she put her main focus on her nutrition and not just doing a bunch of extra calorie burning cardio. As a digital barbell enthusiast, she knew that while exercising and training are important for building her strength and fitness, nutrition was the key to fat loss. While Caitlin lost her 25 pounds, she followed the free digital barbell arms, abs, and you know the rest training program, and she also aimed to get 8,000 to 10,000 steps per day. You can download that same workout program in the show notes below. Research has shown that while exercise is not mandatory to lose weight, people who work out as part of their weight loss journey are much more likely to keep the weight off if they keep working out. Think about it like this. Gasoline is expensive, and you want to conserve as much as you can to keep your budget in check. You feather the gas pedal as you accelerate, and you try to avoid speeding since your car burns a lot more gas the faster you go. And it works. You improve your gas mileage by 5 miles per gallon. You save some sweet coin over a few months. And then gradually you kind of forget about your goal to save gas, and you go back to your foot stomping race car antics. Guess what? You're right back to guzzling gas and growing your budget. What I'm trying to say is that in order to keep the great results that you get, you have to keep doing what got you there. It makes sense, but this tip is often overlooked. And this goes for both your nutrition and your training habits. Caitlin Counter was able to keep those pesky 25 pounds off with ease because she kept exercising, stayed active, and kept up with the great habits that she built along the way. If you've used calorie counting, food logging, or macro tracking to lose weight, you are a rock star. We've used the same process and tips in this episode to help hundreds of clients lose hundreds of pounds and keep them off, and we hope that it helps you too. If you don't want to go out this process alone, or if you need an experienced coach to help you with a workout plan that actually works, you can apply to work with us below. Have a great day.